What exactly is the modeling industry? You should probably know that. That's something you want to know. And even if you've been modeling for some time, you're going to want to stay in on this because you need to know for yourself if things are going well, if they're going right, or if there's some red flags that you might have been missing, or you should start being more alert to from here forward. So, if you're not already in the school community, in the Pose to Profit community, come join us. Go to school.com/pose to profit. Join the community. You're going to be not only getting beautiful lessons and courses and connections with people who have been doing this a long time, people who are brand new at this and timid at first, but we're going to build a ton of confidence because we're going to show you and tell you and teach you and coach you exactly what to expect, what to look out for, how to perform the things you need to perform at a higher level every time you step on set. Now, before we get started, if this speed is great for you, save yourself some time. Play this video at 1.5x or 2x so that you can get through this a lot quicker. Save yourself some time, be efficient. Let's go. Now, modeling as an industry, the overview. Let's talk about the journey of a dollar. A company has some money and they come up with an idea for a product or a service and they say, you know what, we need to make this thing and get it out to people because we want to make more money. So the product or service gets created while they're working on the creation. They a lot of times will get just a sample if it is a physical product, but they'll get this moving. We want to get this out to people. We need to hire an ad agency to start creating ads for us to build up the anticipation and get ready for the launch and get this in front of people, because if people don't know this thing exists, then we don't collect money, right? So the ad agency, they storyboard, they start figuring out, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to launch this new thing, this new truck, the new vehicle, a new microphone, a new water bottle, whatever the product is, whatever the service is. They storyboard it. Once that's done, a lot of times they get moving even before that thing is done. Creatives, am I right? And they start to get in touch with modeling agencies. Or if you are not with an agency, that's okay, because they will go through casting networks. And a casting network, anybody can set up a page on a casting network. We'll get to that as well in this course. The agency or directly to yourself from the casting network for this job, if you are even remotely close to the description of what they look for, let's say they plug in 7 different metrics for the ideal person, the ideal model for this ad that they have drawn up. If you make 4 of those, they still might send you out the casting because you're close enough, and you're close enough to where you can go and you can compete. You can audition and you can compete for the role. So you get this casting, this audition notice from either your agent or directly from the casting network. You audition, hooray, you crushed it. You were a perfect fit for what they were after. And now you've booked the shoot. You go on set, you perform your thing, you finish, the client gets the assets and they launch the product. Boom. If everything goes well, everybody's paid, everybody's eating, all the families in that whole chain from company to consumer are very happy with the whole process of what happened. We're going to talk about the different types of modeling, and that is just the last portion of that chain of events. So the audition, the shoot, what kind of models, what kind of modeling opportunities are there for people? It's not just runway, it's not just high fashion. Those are just a couple examples of a lot of different styles and different types of modeling. So bear with me, I do have a little bit of a list here. So we've got high fashion. That's what a lot of people see when you're talking about, oh, the big runway show in London, and people are wearing the most wild outfits, and people just look crazy wearing trash bags, it seems like, down the runway and modeling it and looking so fierce, and they're trying to own it and all that stuff. To me, it's so weird, but hey, some people love it and a lot of people crush it, and more power to you. High fashion, boom, that's the wild stuff. Runway isn't always just high fashion, but runway, typically you're going to need to be on the taller end. This is what people think of when they think of, oh, a model, you have to be tall. It's likely because of runway modeling, which is what most people think of modeling, or a lot of people think of modeling. Runway, you do need to be a bit taller. Then there's parts modeling, parts modeling, or body parts. So this could be, and I've done some of these as well, where you're just literally a hand model. They're like, oh, we have this new watch, and we're looking for someone with a hand that looks a certain way, right? I literally have on my profile, where any type of agent casting anybody is looking for, I have in my resume extremely large hands. The reason is because it's an odd thing. And sometimes clients are looking for something like that. If they have a device and went through all the iterations, let's say you have a phone and it's like, man, this phone is bigger. And a lot of the people aren't really loving how big the phone is. We need to make it look smaller, right? We need to make it look like you can just hold this phone, even though most people would have to hold it with two hands. We need to make it look smaller. Someone with large hands is going to be great for modeling that phone. So I have that on my actual resume. It's not just hands, it's not just feet. You could be a foot model, it could be ears, right? Earrings, headphones. You could be a hair model, specifically just hair. It could be all sorts of different body parts, right? That's your body part modeling. Then there's fit modeling. Fit modeling is not what a lot of people think of, which is fitness modeling. We'll get to that in a second. Fit modeling is that's you can think of this as like a real life mannequin for a designer who's kind of still in the process of building and crafting their perfectly fit, perfectly shaped product, right? If they're the designer is literally crafting this, they have the vision and they're trying to bring it to life, they're going to find a body type that has a certain specific measurements that fit their vision, and that model will come in repeatedly. I mean, I know a friend of mine was a fit model for Nike for years, and he would fly, all over the world to go and make sure, and they would put him in like kind of like a laser machine for precision. He had to keep his body so precise throughout the year, and they'd bring him in from time to time. They'd be pinning stuff on him and everything just to make sure it's fit. That's a fit model, to make sure the fit of that thing is still correct, accurate, so that when they do start to create it and mass produce it, whatever, it's going to be precise to that body type. Now, fitness modeling, which is different from fit modeling. Fitness modeling is what you think of those beautiful beach babes, the beach body dudes, the dudes and the ladies that have all the right curves and all the right spots, but they're just so toned and leaned and muscular and all that. That's fitness. That's where you get like your Bowflex stuff. That's where you get your all the athletic stuff, like that's fitness modeling. Then you have Model-quin modeling. That is essentially being a real life mannequin. So I've done this one as well, where if I'm modeling this shirt, you get put into a weird position. Let's say they're like, oh, this is where we want you in a running position. You have to be able to hold this position for the shots that they get, but then change out of this shirt and get right back into the exact same position. Because what they're going to do is they're going to remove your limbs, your body from the shirt, and it's just a floating shirt, but it's not the same as a mannequin if they did it on a mannequin, because it just looks more realistic on the body, right? Modelkin, you're a real life mannequin. Who knew, right? And then let's see what else we got. Lifestyle model. This is I love lifestyle modeling because it's literally whatever you do in your life, there's a group of individuals out there that would love to see you modeling your thing, whatever that is, whether it's tools and it's like that gritty the feel when you look at that image and it looks like the guy just got done working a long, hard day out on the ranch, right? He's all, gloves in the back pocket, all that sort of thing. But then there's also the gamer where it's like, oh, we got the microphone, the LEDs and all this stuff and headset and like, you get the little indentation on the hair from gaming so much, whatever it is. Lifestyle modeling is literally modeling the lifestyle of whatever the thing is, whatever that product or the service is. And then we move on to editorial modeling. This is your Vogue. This is the cover, the magazine, right? The Vogue modeling. That's editorial catalog modeling, or e-com. I call it e-com. A lot of people call it e-com or e-commerce. This is when you go online, you're shopping for an item and you're scrolling through and they show this shirt, that shirt, this shirt, these pants, whatever. That's e-commerce. That's online. Well, I guess it would be electronic commerce. I don't really know what the E stands for in e-commerce, but that's right. The catalog or the e-com. So catalog is like the physical catalog when they ship it out, their sales reps, and they're going around looking at, oh, okay, cool. These are all the new things that are coming out spring or fall of next year, whatever it is. And then also e-commerce, the website stuff. Then we've got commercial model. The commercial model is real looking people. If you look it up, that's essentially what the auditions as they come in, when they're like, we're looking for real looking people, not too modelly. That's going to be a commercial model job. That's where they're not looking for The person who just looks absolutely stunning, that looks so unique, that looks like they would be on a runway, they're not going to book a commercial job. Commercial job is going to be for people that just look normal. They just look like they belong in the thing that they're doing, right? So that's your commercial modeling. Print modeling, that's your magazines. That's, you flip through the magazine, like, oh, that's cool in there. That's driving down the road. You see the billboard models, right? That's going to be your print modeling. And then there's plus size modeling. That's for the people that got a little bit more cushion for the pushing, you know what I'm saying? And that's been growing and blowing up a ton. The last 10 years, plus size modeling is blowing up, body positivity, all these things. So there's plenty of work to get there as well. Swimsuit modeling. Swimsuit modeling is a whole thing. If you have a decent looking body, and decent is very, very subjective, let me tell you. Some people want, like, oh, we need a really long torso with short legs. Other people like, we need really long legs and kind of a shorter torso. We need long arms, whatever it is. It varies, and there's work. This is what I mean. There's work for you. Okay. Swimsuit modeling, you could literally go out and they'll have a rack of swimsuits that it's like, hey, we just need you to go out and put this on, we'll shoot it. Put this on a different pose, we'll shoot it. Put this on different pose, we'll shoot it. Whatever it is, whether that's out in nature and natural lighting or it's in studio. And then you've got petite modeling. Petite modeling, you most likely are not going to be walking a runway, but you very well could be modeling swimsuit. You could be modeling lingerie. It's shorter. I mean, 5'1", 5'7", that sort of thing. Runway, you're looking at the upper 5 foot into 6 foot. So there's some difference. There's work for everybody. I'm telling you, I can't stress this enough. Now, we've covered a lot of different types of modeling. Let's talk about who is who. Now, you've figured out what type of modeling you want to do. Now, this is a quick note for people who have been modeling for a while, but maybe you have a ceiling that you haven't broke through in your income, and you're really trying to break through that ceiling. This is a good time. This is a good refresher for you to go back and go, man, I totally forgot about that style, that type of modeling. And you might be a great fit for it. And maybe you just need a tiny bit of coaching or a little bit of tweaking. And you'll find that in this community. I'm sure of it, because there's going to be people from all of these styles of modeling in this community. So you ask your questions, contribute some things in here, and get your answers, because that might be the next thing. If your ceiling is right here, you might need to just throw in one other category, one other type of modeling to break through that ceiling for you. And who knows what's after that. Plus, we have incoming. If you keep with us here, stay in school, kids. If you keep with us here, we're going to get into negotiating higher rates. So you might have the same number of shoots, but you might break through that ceiling just by negotiating higher rates. We'll get into that. That's going to be a whole class in itself. Now, who's who? You have your style of modeling. You got booked. Congratulations. You're going to the shoot and you don't know anybody. You are showing up to a random warehouse or a random address, someone's house you've never been to, you don't know anybody here, and it's a bunch of random people. You don't know anybody. How do you know who to talk to, who to expect to talk to, who's going to be there? What are some kind of red flags? Well, we know there's some green flags we can look for if there are red flags. So let's talk about the green flags. Who do you expect to talk to as a model and interact with the most when you book a shoot and you're heading to set? Who are the most common points of contact that you're going to have? Well, obviously you have your agent or the casting director, whoever you were dealing with there. You're dealing with them usually before the shoot and then leading up to it. But you're showing up to set, and now you have the producer. This is probably the person you're going to be interacting with the most before the shoot. This is where all the emails are coming from, maybe even phone calls, but usually emails. The producer, if you're not familiar with it, a producer's job is like a project manager. They're the ones who, when they get tasked with, hey, we got to create some sort of ad for this thing, the producer is the one that is moving all of the parts and keeping track of all the moving parts and making sure that everything is progressing in the right direction. So they're like the head of household. They're like the parent of the household who needs to make sure this kid has their clothes on, this one's shoes are on correctly, that one has their their homework in their backpack so that because it's due today, that big pothole that you just found yesterday in the driveway is covered so nobody in your family gets hurt. The producer is the one that's putting out all the fires. They're the one that is just going crazy to keep everything running smoothly. You're most likely going to see or speak to the producer at the set, at the shoot. Then you have the stylist, the wardrobe stylist, and hair and makeup. So wardrobe stylists, they're the ones that are going to be touching you pretty much throughout the shoot. This can be really weird for people that are new to shooting, and it was for me too. It was like, this is so weird that somebody is literally just hands-on. You'll get over that in no time, unless you have some like really acute issue with people and germs, whatever. You'll get over it in no time. It's so normal. It's really weird, but in the modeling world, it is so normal for someone else to just be poking, prodding, touching, adjusting in all types of areas. However, when you get to your, let's call them bathing suit areas, right? The no-no areas. This is an area that should not be touched by a stylist or anybody else without your consent. Now, we'll get into how to deal with that as well, but just know it's not normal for a stylist to just touch your junk. Okay. It's not normal for them to be tickling your nippies. All right. That's not normal. If they are really good, they're going to say, hey, is it okay? They're going to ask for that. Hey, I need to adjust this. It's like right over your areola, your nipple, whatever. It's on your chest. Hey, I need to adjust this. Is that okay with you? And then you say yes, or no, I'd prefer to do it. Like, how can I help? Right. So that's your stylist. They're going to be very hands-on, passing you clothing, helping you, when you're changing out of this and handing them that, whatever. You have your hair and makeup artist. Yes, gentlemen, you're going to be having makeup done, your hair done as well. It's still odd to me. It's still, especially around my eyes, it's like, ugh, like nails on a chalkboard for me. But your hair and makeup artist, they're and the wardrobe, they typically are very bubbly, vibrant people. They're fantastic to chat with, and you chat with them probably more than anybody else on set because you spend a good amount of time with them. Hair and makeup, they see you beforehand, and then they'll also give you touch-ups while you're on set. While you're mid-shoot, the stylist is doing this, and then hair and makeup might be coming over and adjusting something. Oh, your hair is down here. Let me just get that up out of the way, that sort of thing. Next, you have your photographer, of course, the one that's back there pressing all the buttons, getting you to pose in all the right ways. They're obviously, you're going to be interacting with them. And the art director, they might be one and the same. Some people wear a couple different hats, but the art director, they're the ones that are like, I have the vision. It's right here, and I need to make sure that whatever happens on this set captures that vision. That's the art director. You're probably going to deal with them too, because they're going to either be speaking directly to the photographer to relay information to you, or they're going to tell you directly and say, hey, I'm not really loving this. Or they'll say to the stylist, hey, let's kill that outfit and try something different. That's the art director. And then maybe you speak with the client. Sometimes it's kind of hit or miss. And this can be a major power play if you do it right. It can be a major deal and future deal killer if you do it wrong. So you want to stick around, you want to stay in this community and learn how to actually interact with the right people, as well as the people that are kind of on the knife's edge, where if you do it wrong, it could kill your business genuinely. And if you do it right, it can explode your business. What I mean by that, an example of that, if you deal with a client, well, and client means they're basically the brand that you're shooting for. So this is the person who represents the shirt that I'm shooting today, the whole product or the service that we're here shooting for. That the client is the person or the people that are with that company. So they're like basically the ones that are in charge and signing paychecks and everything. They're running everything. If you do things well, you might go on a very short list of people that they're like, this person absolutely needs to be back for our next campaign. And you just like that might have booked yourself more business because you did things right. If you did things wrong, they just as easily could be like, blacklist that person. We don't want them for this company or the other company in our portfolio or companies in our portfolio. So you got to be very, very strategic in that. Whew! Okay. That's the who's who. Quick notes before we get out of this session here. The average model pay. I'm not going to deep dive on this session right here, but you need to be aware of this. Again, why are we covering modeling industry as a whole? Because it's important to know where you are. It's 2 points that you need to know: where you are and where you're trying to go. Now, if you don't know where you are and if you don't know where you are relative to the rest of the industry or relative to the other models on set or things like this, if you don't know where you are very likely going to get taken advantage of in this industry. So it pays yourself, it pays to know what is normal here and what's like expected, what's average, how much should an agent or agency take out of my paycheck from a job, how much should I get paid for this type of job, above the line, below the line, web only, all these different types of things. It pays to know these things. So the average model pay, this is from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics for 2022. The average model pay per hour. Take a second and think to yourself, what does the average model make per hour? And then if you have a hard time with that, just think, what does the average model make per year? I'm going to give you those numbers right now. 2022 Bureau of Labor and Statistics, the average model made $20.73 per hour. That basically translates to about $43,000 in the year. Some of you right now you might hear this and you might feel like, oh, that's exciting. And that's okay. Some of you might hear this and feel like, oh, that's absolute trash. And that's okay too. What I want to iterate here so strongly is that this is the average. So there are people out there that are making well below $20 an hour modeling. I'm talking 13. I think the site even cited $13 an hour. $13 an hour modeling that's extremely low. $20 an hour, $20.73 an hour modeling is also extremely low. Here's why. If you are a model, you are most likely getting paid as a 1099 employee. This is some, accounting information. Let me make it super simple. When you work a regular job, you're an employee of a company. When you get your paycheck, you see, oh, they took this much out for taxes, this much out for taxes, this much out for taxes. This is how much money I have in my bank account now. When you're a model, it doesn't work like that. There's very few jobs where you will get paid via payroll, which that's payroll. They do the deductions and all that stuff automatically before you get your check. Very few. I would say less than 10% of the time. The majority of your income is coming as a 1099, as a contractor, not an employee of the company, as a contractor. What that means is your money hasn't even been taxed yet. So you still have to pay heavy taxes on that money. So that 20 something an hour, realistically, that's the average, mind you, that 20 something dollars an hour is actually going to end up being closer to 15 an hour, even a little less than that, depending on your situation. Now, why is that important to know? Because if you are feeling like, man, I made 20 bucks an hour at this shoot and you feel good about it, you could have probably made more going and working at the fast food joint right down the street, because with modeling, a lot of times you have to drive a good distance. So there's your gas, there's the wear and tear on your vehicle. Plus you still have to deal with the stress and everything of your taxes and being a contractor rather than an employee. You probably would have been better off just being an employee at the fast food chain right down the street. So wherever you are, if you're brand new, if you haven't even received a dollar as a paid model, that's okay. From here forward, though, make sure that we're looking at things accurately, where you are right now, where you want to be, and let's get a real solid number so that $20 something an average. We're going to hopefully everybody in this community. My dream is that everyone in this community completely blows that number out of the water. Your average being $20 an hour, I would feel incredibly sad. And I will tell you, if you have gone through all of the courses in this community, and you've reached out to me directly with like, hey, I'm stuck here, I don't know why, what's going on, whatever it may be, and you still can't break that number, I am going to help you directly, personally. This is not okay. All right. So that's the average. How much can you make? Let's get a little bit, let's lift this up a little bit. How much can you make modeling? That number is literally infinite because it just comes down to value. If you keep increasing your desirability and your skill set, you can keep on raising your rates. And this is what we all should be doing. You should be raising your rates. We will get to that in a course or in a class in itself as well. And I'm going to give you the strategies and the tools of how I've done it year over year over year over year, and how I have year after year for 10 plus years earned more money every single year, with the exception of the first 3 years. First 3 years, I had a ceiling and I was stuck until I finally figured out the game and broke through. So we're going to get to that as well. But how much can you make? The reality is, there are people out there there are people out there that are making six figures in a month. Realistically, there are also people out there that you could go out and do one job and make 50 grand. Just one job, one day of shooting, and you can make 50, 60, 70,000, even more than that from one day. Obviously, that's not so common, the average being 43,000 in a year. It is doable, and I will tell you right now, I've done it. My peak shoot, I broke down, my time per hour was something absurd, but for a 1 day shoot, my big whale, the glorious, like, oh man, that's like my goal that I want to break through again. My biggest shoot was north of $60,000 for 1 day. 1 day. It's possible. So I don't say that to brag. I don't say that to be boastful in any way, but I say that to share with you and hopefully inspire you with what's possible. Some people might hear this and you're either going to be pissed off or jealous or like completely indifferent, like, whatever. Or lastly, and this is where I hope you live, is inspired. I am hoping that there are people in this community that are inspiring as hell to me and you, and we get to share in that energy and everybody elevates. All right. That's that for this one. If you want to make more money than that average, then good. You should. So stay in school, school with a K. Stay in school. We're going to keep on growing. We're going to keep on building. You let me know what you want to hear, what worked out for you, what you're unclear on, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that you have the clarity you need to keep going, keep growing. And boy, oh boy, wait till you see what's next. This is just getting the canvas set up. We're not even painting yet. The paintbrush, it's not even out yet. Wait till you see the artwork we have for your modeling career coming up. That's it for now. I will see you on set.